Good morning my children and welcome back for our science classes. As we have already started the lesson number 8, the age of adolescence, and in this chapter we have already seen one. I hope that you might have seen the video on the Saturday. Now in that video we have seen the starting of the lesson, the age of adolescence, what the age of adolescence, what is endocrine system, what are glands, what are hormones, and what are the different type of the glands of the endocrine system, and we have seen what is the function of the different type of the endocrine glands. So my children, today we are going to move much more further in the chapter, that is the age of adolescence, with the definition of the adolescence and the definition of the puberty. So let us see what is the definition of the adolescence. So my children, as I have told in your previous classes also, that transition of the childhood, the transition means the change of childhood into the adulthood is known as the age of adolescence. As my children, you can see in the picture, my child, see, it is the very infant child, very small child, then it is growing into the childhood, then after the childhood it is coming in the age of the adolescence, and after the adolescence, my children, the age of the early adulthood came, the age of early adulthood came. So my children, we can say the age group between the childhood and the early adulthood, the age group between the childhood and the early adulthood is known as the age of adolescence. It means when the boys and the girls are passing from the age of 10 years to the 19 years of the age, when the boys and the girls are passing from the age of 10 years to the 19 years of the age, that age is called the age of adolescence. During this age, my children, a lot of physical, mental and emotional changes comes in the boys or the girls. The boys and the girls can be easily distinguished from one another on the basis of their body shape. For example, the boys develop the beard and the mustache, and the breasts start developing in the case of the girls. So my children, let us see something more detail in the chapter, this adolescence. The period of transition, Transition, the period of transition means the change. The period of transition is the change. The period of transition, change of childhood into adulthood is known as the age of adolescence. adolescence. So my children, the period of transition means change. The period of transition, change of childhood into adulthood is known as the age of adolescence. Or we can say the boys and the girls passing from the age of 10 years, 11 years, 12 years, 13 years, 14 years, 15 years, 16 years, 17 years, 18 years, 19 years of the age. So children between the age of 10 years to 19 years of age. 10 years, children between the age of 10 years to the 19 years of the age are called the age of adolescence, or they are also called the teenagers. They are also called the children which are passing to the puberty age, or they are also called the adolescents, my children. So my children, so after this, my child, we are going to come to the second category, my child, that is the puberty. What is puberty? So let us see, my child, what is puberty? The age of the adolescent, when the secondary sexual characteristics start developing in the boys and the girls, that age is called the age of puberty. The stage in the life when the secondary sexual characteristics start developing in the case of the boys and the girls during the teen ages or during the age of adolescence, that age is called the age of puberty. During the age of puberty, the boys develop the beard and the mustache as well as the hairs upon the chest, as well as in the case of the girls, the breast development start. That age is called the age of puberty. Or we can more say, puberty can be defined as a physical changes in a boy or a girl when a boy is biologically ready to become a father, and those in a girl when she is biologically ready to become a mother. That age is called the age of puberty. So puberty can also be defined as the physical changes. Puberty can also be defined as the physical changes in a boys or a girls when boy is biologically ready to become a father and those in a girl is biologically ready to become a mother, that age is called the age of puberty. So the stage in life, puberty, B-E-R-T, puberty, the stage in life when the secondary sexual characteristics start developing. That age is called the age of puberty. The stage in life when the secondary sexual characteristics start developing. For example in boys, growth of beard and mustache. And in girls means the breast development. So my child, that is called the age of puberty. So my child, that is called, these are my children. So puberty, the stage in life when the secondary sexual characteristics start developing in the case of the boys and the girls, that age is called the age of puberty. So during the age of puberty, a lot of physical changes take place in the boy or a girl, and the boy is biologically ready to become a father and the girl is biologically ready to become a mother. That is called the age of puberty. Now my child, after this my child will come to the topic that is going to see about the role of hormones during puberty. Now topic is roles of hormones during puberty. Roles of hormones during puberty. As my children, you know that in the case of the girls, ovaries releases hormones called estrogen, estrogen. So my children, in the case of the girls, during the age of adolescence or during the age of puberty, the ovaries releases the hormone called the estrogen, which is being responsible for the development of the secondary sexual characteristics in the case of the girls. And in the case of the boys, the testis releases the hormone called the testis releases hormone called testosterone, testosterone, which is being responsible for the development of the secondary sexual characteristics in the case of the males or the boys. So my child, the roles of hormones during the puberty. So in the case of girls, the ovaries releases the hormone called the estrogen, which is being responsible for the development of the secondary sexual characteristics in the case of the girls. And in the case of boys, the testis releases the hormone called the testosterone, which is being responsible for the development of the secondary sexual characteristics in the case of the boys. So my child, what I told you about the secondary sexual characteristics? What are secondary sexual characteristics? Actually, the characteristics which are separating the boys from the girls in the physical appearance. The characteristics which are separating the boys from the girls, they are known as the secondary sexual characteristics. For example, suppose in the case of the boy, the mustache and the beard is there, then he is a boy. And suppose in the case of the girl, the breast development start taking place during the age of adolescence, then she is a girl. So these are called the secondary sexual characteristics. So the characteristic which separates a boy from a girl, the characteristics which separate the boy from a girl in his physical appearance on the body, that is called the secondary sexual characteristics. Now after that we will come to the topic that is the changes in the boys and the girls during the age of adolescence. So now let us see, my child, physical changes in boys and girls during the age of during the age of adolescence. During the age of adolescence. Now let us see what are the various type of the physical changes that we can see in the case of the boys and the girls during the age of adolescence. So the physical changes in boys and the girls during the age of adolescence. First type of the change that we can say, that is the rapid. Rapid means the very fast increase, in height and weight. So my children, when the boys and the girls are there in the age of adolescence or in the age of puberty, the boys and the girls are growing at a very rapid or a fast rate. When the boys and the girls are there in the age of adolescence or the age of puberty, there is a very rapid or the fast growth in the height as well as the weight in the boys and the girls. So the boys and the girls are growing at a very rapid and the fast rate, and the weight is also increasing very fast. Suppose my children, you might have seen, once the child comes in the 6th standard, 7th standard, there is a very rapid increase in the height and the weight each and every year. And once the child comes in the 8th standard and the 9th standard, after 9th standard, 9th standard, 10th standard, 11, 12, 13, and continuously till the 19 years of the age, there will be a very rapid and the fast growth in the height and the weight of the boys and the girls. So first physical change in the case of the boys and the girls is the rapid increase in the height and the weight. Second is, my child, about that, growth of hairs. For example, mustache and the beard in boys, mustache and the beard. So my child, and under armpit and the pubic region. So my child, there is a growth of hairs on the body. For example, the boys will develop the mustache and the beards, and under the arms and in the pubic region also the growth of the hairs will take place. So these are the first two characteristics, my children. Now let us see the third characteristics. After this, my child, will come to the third topic, that is going to say about the growth of Adam's apples. Growth of Adam's apple. Growth of Adam's apples. It means the voice box or the larynx. The voice box or the larynx start developing in a much more faster way in the case of the boys, and the voice of the boys changes during the age of the adolescence. Second thing, my child, there is the increase, increase sweating, increase sweating, and secretion, secretion from oil glands. So my children, there is a very during the age of adolescence, the children are sweating a lot. And there is a lot of secretion from the oil glands upon the skin. So the skin is all the time wet. Either because of the sweat or either because of the secretion from the oil glands on their skin. Because there is an increased level of the hormones in their body. So my child, after that we will come to the topic, that is the fifth one. The fifth physical changes, my child, in the case of the boys and the girls during the age of adolescence. Now my child, the fifth change is there, my child. The girls starts menstruating. And breast development. And breast development start taking place during the age of adolescence. So during this age, my child, the girls will start the menstrual cycle, and the breast development also will take place in the girls. So beta, these are the some of the characteristics, my child, which are occurring in the these are the some of the characteristics which are occurring in the case of the boys and the girls during the age of adolescence or during the age of puberty. Now let us see something more about my child. Yeah. So as I told you that during the age of adolescence or during the age of puberty, there will be a very rapid or the fast growth in the boys and the girls. Oil secretion and the sweat secretion will be rapid, and there will be the changes in the physical body structure of the both boys and the girls. Now my children, after this we are going to come to the topic that is going to say about the in some boys and the girls with the acne or the pimples. In some boys and girls the acne or the pimples can also be observed. Now after this we are going to come to the topic that is going to say about the menstrual cycle. menstrual cycle. So my child, the cyclic process of the cyclic process of producing and releasing are mature yet along with some changes in the uterus wall. Uterus wall is known as menstrual cycle. menstrual cycle. So my child, what is menstrual cycle? The cyclic process of producing and releasing a mature egg along with some changes in the uterus wall is known as the menstrual cycle. So my children, the cyclic process of producing and releasing a mature egg along with some reproductive changes or along with some changes in the uterus wall is known as the menstrual cycle. So my children, then comes the topic ovulation. ovulation. So we let us see the process of producing. The process of producing. the process of producing and releasing. The process of producing and releasing of mature egg by ovaries. Ovaries is known as the ovulation. So what is ovulation? The process of producing and releasing. The process of producing and releasing a mature egg by the ovaries. The process of producing and releasing the mature egg by the ovaries. That process is called the ovulation. So once again, let us see the menstrual cycle. The cyclic process of producing and releasing a mature egg along with some changes in the uterus or the reproductive organs is known as the menstrual cycle. Now after this, my child will come to the next topic that is going to say something about the nutritional care in the age of the adolescence. Now nutritional and the personal hygiene during puberty. Nutritional, nutritional and personal, personal hygiene, hygiene during adolescence. So my child, now let us talk something about the nutritional and the personal hygiene during the age of adolescence. As I have already told you, my child, that there is a very rapid and the fast development of the mental, emotional and the physical. During the age of adolescence, there is a very rapid increase in the physical height and the weight. emotional changes and the mental changes in the case of the boys and the girls. That's why it is very important that the boys and the girls which are passing to the age of adolescence, they should take a complete balanced diet. They should take a complete balanced diet and they should avoid the junk food, because the complete balanced diet can only provide them all the nutritional requirement for the body. For example, in the case of the boy, the muscles are developing a lot, so they need a lot of proteins. Bones are developing a lot, so they need a lot of calcium. So my child, in the same way, since they are performing a lot of tasks for the activities, so they need a carbohydrate also a lot. So my child, during the age of adolescence, since there is a very rapid or the fast growth in the physical, mental and the emotional changes in the case of the boys and the girls, so they need a healthy balanced diet. Second thing, my child, I have told you that during the age of adolescence, the oil gland and the sweat glands are at the full secretion. During the age of adolescence, the oil glands and the sweat glands are there at the full secretion. So it is important for the boys and the girls passing to the age of adolescence that they should maintain the body neat and clean. They should maintain the body neat and clean. They should daily take a bath. They should wear the neat and tidy clothes, and they should clean all the parts of the body properly, so that nowhere the germs can start growing on the body. Now second thing, my child, as we have seen that the girls start menstruating during the age of adolescence. So the girls should take the diet rich in the iron and the zinc, because the iron and the zinc are very important for the girls since they start menstruating at this age of adolescence. Now after this, my child, we are going to come. So our teenagers children, or the children those who are passing from the age of adolescence, they should avoid all type of the junk food and the fried food, and they should start taking the complete healthy balanced diet which will provide all the nutritional requirement for the body to grow the body physically, mentally and emotionally in a healthy way. Now after this, my child, will come to the topic that is going to say about the addiction. 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 What is addiction? So my child, some adolescents, adolescents, some adolescents, boys and the girls. Some adolescents, boys and the girls starts taking drugs during this age, like smoking, drinking alcohol, drinking alcohol, means the taking cocaine, means the eating pan masalas, and gutkhas, my child. So what happened, my child? What is addiction? Some adolescents, boys and the girls start taking drugs during this age, like smoking, drinking, taking cocaine, eating pan masalas and the gutkhas, and it becomes their habit. And once it becomes their habit, they are unable to live without it. And when they are unable to live without it, that is called the addiction. When the boys and the girls of the teenagers or the adolescence age start smoking, drinking or taking pan masalas or the gutkhas or any other type of the drugs, and when it comes in that daily habit and they are unable to live without it, they cannot live without taking this drugs, that condition is called the addiction. So how or any cost they have to take the drugs, then only they will feel better, otherwise they will not feel better at all. So it becomes their need, without that they cannot survive. So some adolescents, boys and the girls start taking drugs. Some boys and the girls start taking drugs during this age, like smoking, drinking, taking cocaine, eating pan masalas and the gutkhas as their habit. And when their habit becomes permanent and they cannot live without eating all these materials, that condition is called the addiction. So my children, the teenagers boys and the girls, or the boys and the girls who are passing to the age of adolescence, they should avoid any type of the drugs. They should not take the drugs at all. Otherwise, my children, it will be very difficult for them to come out of it. So always say no to the drugs. Don't use even them for a single time, because the taste and the flavor is such a way that they cannot come out of it. So my children, please avoid yourself from taking the any type of the such type of the materials. Now my children, those children who are taking the drugs, they are at the very high risk of suffering from the AIDS. Those children who are taking the drugs, they are at a very high risk of getting the AIDS, because when they are taking the drugs, they are using the same syringe, or they are using the same materials, my child, and the infection of the AIDS can easily spread from one person to another person. So my children, there is a very rapid increase in the height, weight, mental and the emotional growth during the age of adolescence. Take care, live a healthy life and a better life, and let your body to grow properly. Avoid yourself from any type of the bad habit or the evil habit which can suppress your growth, mental, physical as well as the emotional, and you will not be able to grow fully in that particular area. So that's all my children for the lesson. By this the lesson number 8 have been completed, and soon my children, in our next class I will give you the PDF of this lesson. Thank you very much. हमने टेस्ट तो कर दिया था उसको, जैसा तुमने बताया था। अब आप देखो पूरा।